This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Juan Gonzalez. Our guests in Washington are Congressmember Dennis Kucinich, who has switched his vote to supporting the health care reform bill, Ralph Nader, longtime consumer advocate, a fierce critic of that bill. The war. Ralph Nader, you mentioned before Afghanistan and Iraq. We are coming up on the 7th anniversary of the invasion of Iraq. Can you relate the costs that go into health care in this country, or don't go into health care, with the costs of war?
Well, just the cost of the war in Afghanistan, which is expanding rapidly, is more cost to the taxpayer than the supposed yearly cost of this health insurance bill that's about to pass. So that's just one country. That doesn't even count Iraq. Joe Stiglitz, Nobel Prize-winning economist, who you've had on the show, estimates the Iraq war to cost $3 trillion. But how about the human costs? 2 countries blown apart, millions of people dying, many millions refugees from their own country, such as Iraq, 4 million refugees out of 25 million people, more people displaced, more people sick, injured, our soldiers dying, coming back traumatized with illnesses, family split apart. This is madness. And the American people have got to really come together here. Nobody's going to do it for them. Dennis Kucinich is not going to do it for them. Nobody's going to do it for them. They have got to start marching, and there's going to be a big rally on Saturday. I hope Dennis will be there in Washington, D.C., in opposition, among other things, to Obama's war in Afghanistan. You know, Eisenhower was so prescient when he warned the American people in 1960 about the military-industrial complex. It's devouring over half of our operating federal budget. The Pentagon budget, which is over half of the federal operating budget in Washington, isn't even auditable. The General Accounting Office of the Congress every year declares it's not auditable. You know what that means? That means there's no control on how the money is spent, and so they're hiring private contractors, as the New York Times reported, to engage in homicidal activities and military activities totally unaccountable in the dark shadows of the war in Afghanistan. So the key question, Amy, is how do we motivate the American people to start acting on what they already believe, that these are wars that are eating at the heart of America and damaging its status all over the world, and that we've got to bring those soldiers back home, and we've got to shut down these wars, because all they do is fuel the insurgencies, as General Casey and many others have said over the years. Our military occupation in Afghanistan is fueling the insurgency, is producing huge sectarian revenge animosities and killings, and it's propping up a very corrupt government that is loathed by most of the people in Afghanistan. And all this on the back of the taxpayer, while we don't have any money to fix the Americans' public works and all the things that Dennis has talked about. How do you get the American people angry? That's what your show should try to try to inquire in.
Congressman, let me ask Congressman Kucinich, Ralph.
Perceived to be the case.
Let me ask Congressman Kucinich on the issue of the war. Again, you talked about the necessity to preserve the Obama presidency, but yet so many anti-war Americans are furious at the continued expansion of the Afghanistan war, the fraudulent elections, the continued corruption in Afghanistan. Your sense of the administration's track record on this and the ability of Congress to rein in these wars?
As you know, we had a vote last week. 65 members of Congress came forward and said it's time to get out now. That, you know, it's a benchmark in terms of the war in Afghanistan. This administration made a choice to accelerate the war. I think it was the wrong choice. And as someone who's consistently challenged the foreign policy of this country, I can say that we have to let the people know that the cost of this war is being borne not only now but in future generations. The cost of this war is being borne in terms of the integrity of our position in the world. The cost of this war is the deaths of countless innocent people, and of the inability of our country to play any kind of a role in creating peace. The problem with war is it has a headlong momentum, and that once it gets started, it's very hard to stop, which is why those of us from the beginning who said, look, don't go into Iraq. There's no basis for it. There's no weapons of mass destruction. We were just swept aside at the time. Now it's very clear that that the war was a pretext, that we were lied to. More and more people know that. But what's also interesting is that there's a lull that's settled over this country. Wars become ordinary. Wars become like part of our daily lives. That's a serious problem because it means that we've accepted war, and we have to reject it. We have to reject it in all of its manifestations, which includes, you know, the spending to keep the war going, the support for the military contractors, the assassination policies that are involved, the unmanned aerial vehicles that are used to strike at people without anyone taking any real responsibility for the results of dead civilians. We have reshaped our country in a post 9/11 America, which is so saturated with fear that we've lost the confidence of our nation to be able to create new possibilities, like peace with other countries, like being able to get out of Afghanistan after we cut a deal with the Taliban that says, look, we're not going to keep aggressing. We're going to take a new direction. We're not. We recognize that we can't run this country. We have enough problems with things here at home. War has depleted our ability to be able to meet the needs of the people, not only with respect to health care, but with respect to job creation, education, and retirement security. All these things are at risk.
Congressmember Kucinich, did you raise this issue?
War is a disaster.
Did you raise this issue with President Obama on the flight to Cleveland, back to your district? And can you recount what your conversation with President Obama was on that flight?
The conversation I had with President Obama was about health care and health care only. I made the points that I've made many times about the importance of having a public option, the importance of protecting the rights of states to pursue single payer. I didn't get any reception on that. I mean, yes, I made those points. I did not talk to him about Afghanistan. But also on the flight was General Jones. And I did have a half hour to talk to him about the war and about my concerns. And I continue to express those on a daily basis to people in the White House. They're committed to this surge. I think that they're going to look again at the results in October and make a decision as to whether or not they move forward into the breach.
Why was General Jones on the flight?
He's a national security advisor. He was on the flight. You know, it's not unusual to have members of the president's staff and cabinet on these flights in Air Force One. And that he was on there, I just took the opportunity to talk to him about a range of concerns that I have. He was receptive to listening. I don't know that it'll change his mind about anything, but I think that you know, he and I have had an ongoing discussion about my concerns about our policies in Afghanistan, about the surge, about the assassination policies, about what's happening in Pakistan, and that's what we talked about.